100-foot view on Amazon is just buy low, sell high. They just allow, it's a great platform. They take 15% to do all the advertising for us. They have, I think it's one in, gosh, it might be 1 in 2 or 1 in 3 people in the US has Amazon Prime now. So me and Anton were talking to a guy yesterday, and we're talking about having like an individual product that you try to sell someone, right? Like it's the latest, greatest, this or that. It comes from the jungles of this or that. You could try to force feed someone to change their habits over and over. And a lot of times you have to change their habits by enticing them with money. Well, with Amazon, it's just buy low, sell high. I just put on the deodorant that got shipped back to me, that I don't have to change anyone's views on deodorants or anything like that. I just have to find it for a low price and sell it on Amazon. So that's all it is. We go out, we get contracts. That's the hardest thing to do, but we have a pretty good team that's doing it. After that, even that's not necessarily hard. Like if you like talking to people and stuff like that, it's just a tedious thing that we've hired people to just go out and do for us. But softwares, another thing that me and Anton talked about, like Amazon like feeds the mouths of a lot of different people and you don't even think about it. I mean, from trucking to software to our accountants to lawyers to like all these different people get a little feed from Amazon. But like I said, it's not hard work. Amazon makes it extremely streamlined once you learn certain systems. And that's basically what we offer. We offer our track record, basically. I got into it originally following someone else's track record. He had done $600,000 in 1 month, made $60,000 for the month. I was like, sign me up. Unfortunately, he signed up over 400 people like me, and he couldn't handle the workload. So that's where I had paid $30,000 to get started, $20,000 in product, and I didn't make a sale for 5 months, man. And I honestly thought that's just how it worked. But then I ended up finding out, like I said, he was an excellent marketer, and he just brought on way too many people. So then that's when I went out, bought a course, bought another course, hired employees, and then made a go out of it. Did over 140,000 my first year, 405,000 last year in Amazon, 298,000 or 96,000 in Walmart. So we don't promise the world to anyone. We just have a system in which, if you have the dollars and you want it sitting in here in an asset in some inventory, as opposed to sitting in a bank losing money sometimes with inflation, we just have a system for you. So just for example, we just found a new supplier, great products in the food category. We put together, it started off with $69,000 invoice. Then it went up to 100,000, but that's $70,000 invoice. Sorry, the 100,000 was going to make $35,000 once it sells out. So that's pretty dang cool. Now, we can't promise you when it's going to sell out, but what we try to do is flip your money a minimum of 6 times in a year. So every other month type of deal. So if you have 10,000 or 100,000, we try to flip it 6 times in a year minimum. So like our ROI, like everyone talks about ROI.
Yeah.
How much can you make? Well, let's just say we flip your $10,000 like investment in stocks. They say if you can get 10,000 to flip one time, make 10% at the end of the year, your financial planner is done awesome. Right? Yeah. Well, with us, we tell you to take that same $10,000 and make 10%, right? ROI, same thing. But ours is 6 times in a year. You do that 10%. Okay. So just think of the difference in the tax advantages and the write-offs and all that jazz. Yep. So like I said, we don't oversell anything. If you can get 10,000 in there, we'll make you $1,000 off of it. It usually takes 30, 45 days, sometimes 60 days to make that $1,000. But because you're always replenishing or continuing to buy, you know, you have a rolling effect of ROI. So that's basically it. Amazon is a beast. I mean, the numbers are ridiculous. What it does, the pandemic made it just blow up even more.
Right.
You know, that's not even only just in buying, but the whole logistics, trucking, all that industry just is following each other in this retail world. So that's why we've invested in both logistics, trucking, and then the e-com boom.
Yeah. So you suggest creating that LLC, correct? Like out of the gate?
Yeah, we wouldn't work. We wouldn't work without an LLC. It's a business. You want the write-offs and stuff like that. You're going to get a professional account that costs $39.99. You're going to have an LLC with a business account attached to it. We can't even open up contracts for you under Renee. like the wholesaler be like, "Who's Renee? Like, give me Renee's Advanced Products or something." LLC. You know. Yes, you'd need an LLC.
Yeah, and there's a guy that I work with, Renee. He is in Oakdale, actually. His name is John Laney. He's friends of Damon's and I's too. But he's a great lawyer there in Oakdale, pretty close to you. That'll do it for you. Or you can do it yourself too.
You can do it yourself. You can literally go to LegalZoom and figure it all out. Like, or go on YouTube and they'll show you how to do it. We're just lazy. So I paid someone, you know, Anton paid someone.
You're definitely not lazy. I wouldn't say that. I just say that.
I'm always afraid I'm going to mess something up. So like taxes, doing that, changing my oil. I'm not going to do it.
For sure.
Yeah.
So from this, you know, you talked about the guy that you started this with, brought on 400 people. How many are you guys looking to bring on? And you know, at what point is that too much as well? Or is it you hiring additional people, or just wanting to understand kind of your, you know, you get a percentage of me and
we get 35%. But yeah, we stopped at 10. We just opened it up for 4 more, and we only have 1 spot left under us. After that, we're going to continue to talk to people, but we're going to refer them over to other people that we trust in the business, and they would get started with them.
Okay.
So we have 1 more to go until we hit our 14. And then when we get 4 more people making over $4,000, we just got 4 people to $4,000. So we opened it up for 4 more.
Okay. And then from my perspective, do you guys deal with the wholesale piece of it, finding buyer or finding product? Is that something that I would need to do as well, or just
do you have an interest in learning that part and doing it yourself?
Kind of depends how much time I have. You know, I'm working full time right now. Totally just looking for well, you know, there's certain things that,
like in Anton's case, he just talks to people like, "What do you do?" "Well, I own this, or I sell this, or I do that." And then he'll be like, "Sweet, I sell on Amazon. Can I get your wholesale contract?" Like he'll just say that to people. And next thing you know, he's sending the information over to our employees and say, "Hey, check this out. See if we can get a list. See if we can buy from here." That's what he does. Is he required to do that, or any partner required to do that? No, we have a system to do all that. And we even have, like, we're bringing on a partner right now. We sent him all of our training that we've spent, probably about $10,000 in training, like videos and stuff like that, into organization. We sent one of them over to him. He loves it. Like, he's like, "Oh, I watched that video. I know how to do this, this, and this. I'm going to get this set up. I'm going to do that." And at some point in time, he might fire us and do it all himself, so he doesn't have to give up that 35%.
Right.
So we give each one of our partners access to the trainings that we actually use to train our people. So they can take over any part at any point in time and just fire us and take over the whole thing. But no, you're not required to do anything except initial setup. And that's basically some softwares getting your Amazon account going, getting a bank account going. And then once a week, you have to take a photo of your credit card that you're using and send it over to your team so they can match it with what they thought they ordered and what actually got processed on credit card.
Okay.
So that's all you're responsible for. Setup, and then once a week sending your credit card information.
Yeah.
Every once in a
Yeah, for me, Renee, like I got into this business because, well, I love it, one, and I love networking, but every day I'm trying to find and add value to our business. It's not only my business, it's our partner's business as well. Because every time I go out and find a wholesaler or a connection or anything like that, it'll add to everybody's, you know, because we use some of the wholesalers for yours, or, you know, we could, you know, use one wholesaler for all of ours. There's enough product to go around for a lot of that too. We've got close to like 50 wholesalers at this time, Damon?
Yeah.
Total?
Yep. In different capacities. Yep.
Yep. So we have a lot of different systems in place, like Damon said. The software, he didn't really get into that as much, but we basically take a list of companies' products or, you know, what they have. We put it through a software called Wholesale Inspector. That product list gets dissected based on the parameters that we put into the system. So if we want a certain amount of ROI, we want a minimum profit of $5, let's say, we're able to see through the system as well as another system how many people are selling it on Amazon. They're going to tell us how many of each product we should buy. You know, it's pretty crazy, the system we have. It's not like you're just looking at a product list and you're like, oh, that looks cool, we should sell that. Okay, let's no, we don't. Like at the beginning, I tried to send Damon products. I'm like, oh, let's sell this, let's sell that. He's like, no. He's like, we're just gonna sell the stuff the software tells us. I'd be like, no, I know, but this is gonna sell really good. And he's like, no. I'm like, I'm not gonna do it. I'm like, all right, fine. Then I'd get all pissed and I'm like, God, I really wanted to sell that product, but it really doesn't even matter. So that's kind of
this morning I woke up to 14 sales of air filter, and it was like, cool. Do you think Anton sent me any pictures of air filters? No, he did not send me any pictures of air filters, but we found air filters, and I didn't even tell you this, Anthony. We're actually competing with Amazon. Amazon's on the listing for $103. We're on the listing for $103, and we sold 14 of them this morning in one shot. So that's the type of products that we don't necessarily care what the product is. A lot of times you'll think, oh, my kid looked at this, we should go find this. And then you'll see that it's saturated and you can't make $1 on it. But the air filter, you know, we found it and we're making what was it, $7 on each one that we sell, I think it was.
So it's 35 goes to you, 15 goes to Amazon, and then the profit is 50 on my side.
No, you don't ever see the 15 come out. That's not even shown until that's actually worked into our numbers. So when we give you a spreadsheet, you'll see how much it costs for shipping, how much it costs for tax, how much Amazon's going to take out, and then it spits out a number. So then you get a gross amount of money that comes out, and then we minus out some things, and then you get a net. Once we get to a net of $1,000 or say $3,000, you would get like 2,000 of it, and we would get 1,000, or 2,200, and we'd get 800. Whatever 65-35 is after at the net at the ending.
So how do you divvy up the product per person, or, you know,
Yep, good question. Good question. We don't,
have
we
100
don't,
air filters. Okay.
we don't divvy up. What we do is we work under Renee with your own employees. So they go out under Renee LLC, and they're trying to open up their own contracts under Renee. And that is the asset that you're building. So no one else is buying those products or anything like that. The only time me, Eric, or Anton would buy those products is if you didn't have enough money at that time that we made a purchase order for you or put together a purchase order. We don't want to waste the purchase order if you don't have the capital. So then one of us would then buy that purchase order and potentially put it in one of our stores. But each person has their own contracts. Sometimes items are similar or the same, but come actually from different vendors. So both of us might be selling a knife per se in hunting, and it might end up being the same knife, but one may have got it from guns or the outfit, the supplier. The other person might have gotten it from another place. So you have your own contracts that we're developing for you. That's why it becomes an asset that you can actually sell, because each one would be signed under Renee. We get the contract for you. It's not shared products.
Okay.
All
Got it. Okay.
And that another way, that's a good question. Just so you know, Amazon literally signs up 4,000 people a day like you and me and Eric and Anton, right? But less than 1% of them actually get going and make $1.
Wow.
So people always talking about, oh man, it's stark competition, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, there's stark competition in your job. There's another person that's getting better in your job that might try to get after you. But there isn't necessarily competition like that. If you know what you're doing and you have a system, you're going to make a profit. But the thing about it, the e-com world it was at like 13% before COVID. Now it's at 17%, where all online sales or all retail sales are online. That's growing. So Amazon literally needs more people like us getting more contracts to feed their beast, their warehouses that are building in Woodbury and Cottage Grove. Like, they need us, and they can't do it themselves. People are always like, well, why doesn't Amazon do it themselves? Well, they do some themselves, but there are these like antitrust laws that they can't just go out and gobble up everything under Amazon's name. Like, it's literally illegal. Like,
Yeah.
So they need us, and they found that third-party sellers like us, we're more innovative than them. So they're a big monster that has figured out the delivery game. They like the innovation of us going out and making these contracts and different things like that. People ask, well, why doesn't Kellogg's or Johnson & Johnson just sell on Amazon themselves? That's not their business model. Their business model is getting the stuff out to third-party sellers or brick and mortar. So there again, competition is always real. I just try to tell people I don't compete with anyone except getting my numbers better,
Yeah. Yep.
Stuff like that. So
okay. So again, what's the initial buy-in?
It's $15,000 to get started, and then it's $1,000 after 60 days for a management fee until we get you to a profit of over $3,000. Once we get you over $3,000 in profit, the management fee of $1,000 goes away, and then we're at 65-35 split.